Good morning everybody, I am Sarah with the trains, and today I'm heading south to explore the branch line to Felixstowe. I have now arrived at Ipswich. As anybody who's watched my channel for a little while will probably know, I have been to both Ipswich and Felixstowe indeed before when I did my Round the Compass video, which I will link up here. This time though I'm exploring all the little stations between Ipswich and Felixstowe. So now it's time to go get the train.
We will be calling at Westerfield, Derby Road, Trimley and Felixstowe. Welcome to the station of Felixstowe.
Well, we have made it to Westerfield. So this station was opened in 1859 by the East Suffolk Railway on a line that went as far north as Yarmouth South Town and as far south as Ipswich. It then became a junction station in 1877 when the Felixstowe Railway and Pier Company opened a line from Felixstowe to Westerfield. Services were then extended as far as Ipswich in 1879. In 1902 it actually almost became a four-way junction station when the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway wanted to open a line to link up with the Mid-Suffolk Railway at Debenham. There was even a sod cutting ceremony to the north of the goods yard in 1902, and there was a short stretch of line built at the Debenham end, but this ultimately came to nothing. There did used to be bay platforms at this station, and during the Second World War some engines were stored there. There was also Polish Armoured Train C based here. Until yesterday I didn't know what a Polish armoured train was. It sort of does what it says on the tin. It was an armoured train run by the Polish Armed Forces in the West, and it went around the National Rail network patrolling between 1940 and 1942. Obviously they never saw any combat or anything, because the closest we got to any Nazis invading was the time Rudolf Hess sort of parachuted into Scotland. So ultimately the trains were stopped from running in 1943 in England and in 1944 in Scotland. In the 1950s, a pair of camping coaches that were normally sited at Felixstowe Pier in the summer months were stored here during the winter in the goods yard, because nobody really wants to use a camping coach at Felixstowe Pier in the winter, I guess. I'm actually really understanding that today. It's extremely cold. The goods yard was closed in 1964 and the tracks into the bay platforms were lifted later in the decade. In 1967 the ticket office was closed, as were all the ticket offices in this area, and the trains were then staffed by what were referred to as conductor guards, which means that you basically bought your ticket on the train rather than prior to boarding. There was actually a signal box at this station, but this was closed in 1999 when the signalling system changed and all signalling was transferred to Colchester. The Felixstowe Dock and Railway Company actually built offices at this station, which you can just see through the trees behind me. In the 1990s, after years of being abandoned, they were actually converted into a private residence, and that's how they remain to this day. These days, Westerfield Station sees services every hour from Felixstowe to Ipswich and Ipswich to Felixstowe. There are also peak time trains that go to Lowestoft, and there's also an hourly service to Lowestoft on a Sunday, if I'm remembering my facts right. Now we've had that little history of the station, I think it's time for a quick run round and run down of the station facilities. We have got 2 platforms, some accessibility ramps, we have some benches, of course, although I don't think I'll be sitting on them today because they've got ice on them. Here in this little gardeny area we have got a bee identification guide. I genuinely didn't know there were that many different types of bees. There's also this butterfly identification guide as well. We've got plenty of station signs, of course. Ooh, and a planter, but sadly this is looking a bit withered in this cold wintry weather. Over here we've got some old station buildings, information about engineering works on the network in November, a help point, an information display, a flappy plastic bin, a ticket machine, a bus shelter style waiting shelter with a bench inside, but there's a curious little sign on this waiting shelter. It says warning, fragile roof, strictly no admittance. So I'm guessing you're really not supposed to use this waiting shelter, so I don't quite understand why they haven't blocked it off or knocked it down. Here we have some more information signs and the way out and access to the other platform. We also have the level crossing, which is the level access to the other platform. So make sure you're on the correct side of the crossing when the barriers go down. Over here, more information signs, and up this way to the Lowestoft bound platform. Over here we've got a help point and an information screen, which isn't actually showing any information. Another planter, a singular piece of cycle parking, another bus shelter style waiting shelter, and I've just spotted a sign on this one as well. Warning, fragile roof, strictly no admittance. But again, it's not blocked off in any way. Ooh, we have a big planter here. It says June 2021, herbs were planted by 1st Westerfield Club Scouts, herbs sponsored by the railway in Westerfield. Please help yourself to a sprig or two. That's nice. And it does instruct you, please don't sit on the planter. I mean, I wasn't going to be fair, but it's nice to have the warning. We've got the ubiquitous flappy plastic bin. We have another old little railway structure. Not entirely sure what that would have been, but it's very clearly not used anymore. And we have this locked little shed thing. Down here we have got another bench. We've got tactile paving to indicate where you need to stand behind when trains are coming through. That's especially good because freight comes through this station. Now, there you can see is the junction. Off to the right is where trains for Felixstowe and the port of Felixstowe head off to. And going straight ahead, those are trains for Lowestoft. Oh, the level crossing is going down. Train incoming. I do believe it's coming this way, going to Lowestoft. And here comes the train coming in from Lowestoft, which does not stop at this station. That was 755-424. Here we go, the train to Felixstowe. And it's good old 327 again. I suspect I'll be seeing this one a lot today.
Felixstowe. We are now approaching Derby Road.
We have now made it to Derby Road. This station was opened in 1877. Originally it was called Derby Road brackets Ipswich, although that was changed to just Derby Road in 1879. It was a really popular station for people who lived on the eastern side of Ipswich to get to Felixstowe because it connected up to the Ipswich tramway system. So in summer months it was a really busy station with, you know, people going out to the beach and to the pier, and this meant that actually many trains turned around here at Derby Road rather than going all the way to Ipswich because of the sheer numbers of passengers that they were picking up at Derby Road. The station was actually rebuilt in 1891 with a passing loop being added and consequently a second platform. By 1986, the amount of freight coming through this station had increased to the point there were about 12 or 13 trains a day coming through, and the passing loop here wasn't really long enough to accommodate such lengthy trains, and this caused disruption to the passenger services. So to rectify this issue, the passing loop was actually lengthened in 1999 so that freight could come through without having that massive knock-on effect on the passenger services going to Felixstowe and Ipswich. Another consequence of container freight coming through this station is that the bridge was rebuilt in 2003 to accommodate larger containers going down to the port of Felixstowe. So after that brief little station history, now it's time for a quick run round and run down of the facilities here at Derby Road Station. Here at Derby Road we have got two platforms. And over there we have the bridge. We also have benches, of course. A planter. Some nice fencing. Fencing is always a good one, I think. Station sign. And information posters. The good old bus shelter style waiting shelter. Unlike at Westerfield, these ones you can actually use. Down here we've got an Amazon locker. Next to that is the flappy plastic bin. Some more information posters. A help point above a departure screen. There was cycle parking, but this is blocked off. Now to exit the station you've got a choice of ramp or stairs. I'll choose ramp, I think. To get to the other platform you've got to walk along the road. Over here we've got a ticket machine and more information screens, information posters, and a lovely ramp down at the platform. Plenty of level access here at Derby Road. I can't really see what this says because of the ice, and I can't reach to dust off the ice. I think it's something about a wildflower patch. The flappy plastic bin. We've got the accessibility ramp, a bench. Oh, I forgot a planter. As well as a singular piece of cycle parking, another bench, and the bus shelter style waiting shelter. Back over on platform 2 we do have some old railway buildings, but sadly they are no longer in use. I am waiting for a freight train to pass through, and it is very, very cold. I think I mentioned that already. That's my good buddy 755 327 again. So I am now waiting for the next train at Derby Road to take me to Trimley. We have now made it to Trimley. The station here at Trimley was opened by the Great Eastern Railway in 1891 on the existing line between Felixstowe and Ipswich. Public freight facilities were withdrawn at Trimley in 1964, but in 1970 a new line was opened up direct into Felixstowe docks, which created Felixstowe Beach Junction between Trimley and Felixstowe. Originally, Trimley had two platforms. Now, in 1986, work started on a line from the east end of Trimley Station down to the Northern Freightliner terminal at Felixstowe Docks. This severed the passing loop here, which meant that the other platform was actually taken out of service, and so only one platform remains at Trimley today. There was also a signal box here at Trimley, but that was closed in 1997 when the signalling was transferred to Colchester. In 2019 there was an infrastructure change at Trimley when the line was partially doubled towards Ipswich so that more freight could be carried on the line. Now that I've given you that brief history of Trimley Station, let's have a quick run round and run down of the station facilities here. We have got the bus shelter style waiting shelter. Again, it's with the fragile roof warning no admittance. However, the ticket machine is within the shelter, so how serious that sign is, I really don't know. Also in there we've got a bench and a curious patch of wetness on the floor that I quite frankly don't want to know what it is. We also have planters and 2 bits of cycle parking, some onward travel information. Ooh, this lovely retro Trimley sign next to the help point, the accessibility ramp and the departure screen, as well as an information poster about the East Suffolk lines. Further down the platform you've got another one of these little British Rail era style signs and another bench. Down here we've got more benches and a running in board. Over on the other side of the line we have that disused platform. And here we have the footbridge, which provides access over the line. And level access is by going straight over the line, so if you're on the wrong side of the level crossing when it goes down and you need level access, unfortunately you won't be able to get across the line. Let's have a wander up the footbridge. You really do get a great view of the line from up on the footbridge. I've never seen a level crossing light like that before. It's so narrow compared to the normal one on the other side. I presume it is purely space saving because it is very narrow here. I mean, this is supposed to be sectioned off as a footpath, but it's very overgrown. Now walking back down the platform. Now if you go out of this gate between the 2 planters, it takes you to a flappy plastic bin, information signs about the station, including info about the East Suffolk Line's Day Ranger ticket. Excellent. There's not enough info out there about the Rangers and Rovers, I don't think. Also there's info about engineering works and a train time sign. And of course the how to get assistance for your journey sign. Out here we have got the station car park. All the lovely parking space, and there are a few more back here. Here I can see we've got the accessible parking for blue badge holders only, and there's an interesting sign just behind me that I'll show you now. Accessible blue badge parking. If all bays are occupied, there's only one bay, please park free of charge in the main car park. That's very interesting because I haven't seen that anywhere else. Now this is the original station building from 1891. It was designed by a W.N. Ashby, who was the chief architect for the Great Eastern Railway. In 2009 Network Rail actually wanted to pull it down, but it was saved by the Friends of Trimley Station. There was a proposal to change this over to a internet cafe and community meeting space, but as you can see the building still looks extremely dilapidated. There is fencing up. I hope that at some point this is going to be renovated so that it can be a great place for the community to use. Also interestingly, this is one of only 2 stations outside of Essex that was built in the Ashby style. As dilapidated as this building is, I can see people have tried to brighten it up with some artwork. can see a little bit poking over the top of that fence, but I really like this one. I don't know who's done it, but whoever you are, thank you very much. I really like it. This station building really is in need of a lot of love and care. It is strange because, although of course I want to see this restored and that would be amazing, but I do find a curious beauty in dilapidation. I don't really know why. That's not to say I want buildings to become dilapidated, I look at them and see, I suppose, the age, the history, what they've been through. Maybe that's where the beauty comes from. I'm not sure. So now I've done a bit of curious musing about the beauty of dilapidated buildings, it's time to wait for the next train, the last train of this line, which is to get to Felixstowe. My original plan for when I got to Felixstowe was to take a walk down to the beach and the pier and explore all that sort of stuff. But to be perfectly honest, how cold it is today, it is sub-zero, and the thought of going anywhere near the North Sea fills me with dread, so I'm going to find somewhere to have a hot drink and maybe some hot food. I'm not sure. Oh, holy hell, the next train has been cancelled, and so has the train to Ipswich. Train's been cancelled because of waiting earlier for a train crew member. Oh god, it is really cold here. I don't think I can wait an hour and a half in the cold for another train. I really don't know what to do, because I don't think I can wait an hour and a half here for another train. So I guess I'll take a walk into Trimley and see what I can do. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Great. I may see you in Felixstowe, I may not. We'll see how we go. So on this onward travel sign there's stuff about buses. I don't know how frequent they are. I don't know whether to go to Felixstowe or whether to go to Ipswich. Subsequent trains have not been cancelled. I think it is just about this crew member. So I'll take a walk and see if I can maybe get a bus into Felixstowe. Thanks to that wonderful bus, I am now in Felixstowe, right next to the station. Well, thanks to the buses that I so often malign, I am now at Felixstowe railway station fairly quickly, actually. So I've had to complete this journey by bus, but obviously I will be getting the train back because subsequent trains are not cancelled. It is just the one train coming to Felixstowe and one going back. The ones afterwards are still scheduled to run as normal. Thank goodness. Otherwise I'd be getting the bus to Ipswich. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you all next time for another railway adventure. I'm off for a brew of something hot and maybe something to eat as well. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, and one last thing to note, the importance of onward travel posters. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have known where to go get the bus and how to get to Felixstowe. As always, I want to give an extra special shout out to all of my patrons and channel members whose names are on screen right now. Thank you all so much for your support. It really does keep the channel going. If you'd like to become a channel member or patron, links are in the description below. Oh, I know I said I wasn't going to, but I couldn't come all the way to the coast and not go to the beach. In the distance, through the fog, is Felixstowe Pier.